What's up, guys? Nightflux here, coming to you with my Shadow Paladin Deck Profile. This is an Ildona build. This is an amazing deck. It's going to cost you an arm and a leg. That's still viable and can beat Crossrides. I've beaten Dope with this deck. I've beaten MLB with this deck. I've beaten PBO with this deck. This is an amazing deck, still competitive. Let's get right into the deck profile. We have our starter Full Bow. Full Bow's effect, basically when Blaster Javelin rides over him, you can search Blaster Dark from the deck. So, simple enough. He does not get pulled back. That is the only downfall if you do not get a Blaster Javelin. So let's continue with the deck profile. We are running 8 critical triggers. Basically, you're going for high damage with this deck. Pretty much, the more damage you can get off, the better. So that's why we run 8 crits. We're doing 4 draw triggers. Draw power is always nice. With the one thing about this deck is you're always going to have a huge hand once you start using Ildona's effect. And then we do have our 4 heal triggers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Heals are amazing as always. Get a heal. That usually changes the game. Alright, so let's get into our grade runs. We are running 4 perfect shields. You have to run 4 perfect shields. With this deck, it's not really a problem. Like I said, once you start using Ildona's effect, you have massive hand advantage anyway. You need this to guard like for Dote effect, for MLB crit effect. So 4 perfect shields, pretty self-explanatory. Next, we are running 4 Blaster Javelins. This is your preferred ride for the deck. Like I said, once you ride your Blaster Javelin, he's an 8K, and you can search out for your Blaster Dark. So basically, if you get him in your hand, you're guaranteed your grade 2 if you get more than one, and you get a shitty grade 3. Like we do run Bab cards in this deck. They're not bad, but if you get one, you don't really want to ride him because he's a 9K Vanguard. Basically, pitch him. We do run 1 Phantom Blaster Dragon. So we'll get into the combos a little bit later. Like I said, run 4 of those. That is your preferred ride. If not, you could ride pretty much any other one of these grade ones, but you don't really want to ride your perfect shield, obviously. We are running Black Sage Sharon, 4 of those. Basic 8K beater. Good for a booster. Behind Ildona, it's always going to be a 21K hit. We are running 2 Guru Bow. Guru Bow is a 7K booster, but if it's in the front row and it's attacker, and you have a Shadow Paladin Vanguard, this is a 9K attacker, so early game you can get some extra attacks off. That does it for our grade 1 lineup. Grade 2 lineup, we are playing 2 Blaster Darks. Like I said, if you ride the Blaster Javelin, you can search for him. That's why we only run 2. We don't really want to have him if we can't search for him because he's only a 9K. Basically, when Blaster Javelin's in Soul, he's a 10K Vanguard. And when you don't really want to use his Counterblast, ride 2 and retire card because we're saving our Counterblast for Ildona. Next, grade 2, 10K, Knight of Fighting Spear, Dordona. Basic 10K beater. This is like an Ildona beats deck. Next, we are running 2 Knight of Darkness Rugos, another 10K vanilla beater. Next, we are running a pretty key card in the deck. We are running 4 Cursed Lancers. Basically, Cursed Lancer's effect, when its attack hits a Vanguard, you can unflip a damage. If you don't know, Ildona's effect is Counterblast 2, Retire 2, draw 2 cards. And then with your drive check, you're basically drawing 4 cards. So we want to get that off as much as possible. You want to make Cursed Lancer hit as much as possible. They're going to be trying to take, your opponent's going to be trying to take these out, and if you have a couple of them, they're good targets for your opponent as well. Last grade 2 we're running is we are teching 1 Skull Witch Nemen. Basically, you never want to ride this. If you have to ride it, it's GG because it's only a 3K, obviously. Basically, ride. Choose a card from, call. Choose a card from hand. Discard it. Counterblast 1. Draw 2 cards. Good effect. It complements Ildona. Now onto the grade 3s. Dun 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 dun. Ildona. Origin Mage Ildona. Let me read it for you. Limit break 4. Counterblast 2. Choose 2 of your Shadow Paladin rearguards and retire them. When this unit attacks, you may pay the cost. If you do, draw 2 cards, and this unit gets an extra 3,000 until the end of that battle. Also, it gets when this unit attacks a Vanguard, it gets plus 3K anyway. So if you have, like I said, if you have a Black Sage Sharon behind it, it's always a 21K hit. Use the effect, it's a 24K hit. So that's why Ildona's good. We'll keep going. We'll get into combos in a second. 4 of those. We are running 3 Bab card, Dark Mage Bab card. Basically, he's good for when you start needing tribute fodder for Ildona, because whenever you call him to a rearguard spot, you check the top card of your deck. If it's a Shadow Paladin, call it behind, and you can also always use that for Origin Mage Ildona's effect to retire 2 and then draw 2. Lastly, we are playing 1 Phantom Blaster Dragon. Like I said, he's searchable. So if you don't end up getting Ildona in time, you can always get him and search him with Blaster Dark. let's go over some combos really quick. Pull some cards out for you guys. Sorry, 1 second here. Alright, it's over. Like I said, your preferred ride is Blast or Javelin. If you end up having an extra Blast or Javelin, 1 second, sorry. End up having an extra Blast or Javelin, you can always, and you had a Babcar in your hand, you don't really want to ride Babcar, like I said, because he's a 9K, so you would call him, pitch your Babcar, and then you could always search for your Phantom Blast or Dragon, and since you rode him, you'd have the full ride chain if you didn't have Ildona in hand. That's always your backup plan, but you want to always ride Ildona ASAP. You don't want to use any other counterblast in this deck, except for Skull Witch Nemen. You always want to save your counterblast for Ildona. That's how you keep your hand size. That's how to play this deck right and consistently. If you save all your blasts for Ildona and Skull Witch Nemen, you're always going to have a huge hand advantage. I've finished games with a hand size from anywhere from 8 to 12 cards. Even if you keep yourself at 5 damage, put yourself at extra damage just to use Ildona's skill, it's still good because you just the massive cards you have. It's basically like a quadruple drive check minus not be able to use the first 2 you draw, because you're drawing 2 and then you're drive checking 2. That's a +2. I mean, you're retiring 2, but with the massive hand you have, you're just going to replace them anyway. And if you wanted to have a column, like a shitty column, such as 2 grade 2s, maybe not those, maybe not both those, but if you just had, I don't know, like this, if you got this, if you called a Babcar and checked a grade 2, just put it behind and you could retire anyway. Then you're still getting the power up here, you're still getting the draw here, and then you could boost up your other row. So you always want to keep one good row, and you could have a shitty row and use her effect, and you can clean that up when you draw 2 and then drive check 2. This deck is good because it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. Basically, the only highly valued cards in this deck are the Blaster Darksing. They're going for about 10 as of April 16th, which is today. The Perfect Shields, obviously, are going to be a little bit expensive. I think they're around 20 as of this date. Everything else is pretty much, I mean, Ildonas aren't that expensive. Everything else isn't that expensive. The only thing you're really paying for is the Perfect Shields and the Blaster Darks. And the one Phantom Blaster Dragon you're running is probably a little costly as of this date, like I said. This is an amazing deck. Very, very good against Crossrides. You have a lot of hand advantage. And just beats down. The 8 crits always help. You're pretty much going to hit a crit. You're like guaranteed to hit the crit at least one time during the game. On top, even if you don't hit them and you're drawing your triggers, you'll be sitting on a bunch of shields in your hand as well. So that's why this is a great deck, really good in today's meta. Hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. I'll be bringing you more stuff soon. Let me know what you think about the deck in the comments below. Remember to like this video, give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.